Hey, what's up guys? Paul here, and it is time for my 2013 triathlon season year in review. Since it is New Year's Eve, and I've got just hours to get this up before it's 2014, let's get started. Training this season was a pretty interesting experience. I spent the last couple months of 2012 researching on how to get involved in the sport after having the interest grow in me. In January, I decided to join my YMCA and start training in the winter. After having access to the pool, I was able to swim. Started small and I kind of worked my way up, and I found out that cramps were my worst enemy. I still get them from time to time depending on how much I'm working out. For my swim training, I also managed to get this little beauty through a discount with my Tri Club from a running store in Westfield, New Jersey. It's my Garmin Forerunner 910 XT, and this thing is invaluable. It helped me to know how much I was swimming, how fast I was swimming, and it came in handy on the bike when my bike computer battery finally died, and I got the heart rate monitor and a foot pod so I can track my running workouts and cadence and stuff like that too. So that became my training partner for the preseason. With my bike training, I was experienced in riding a road bike. I tried riding with a club a couple years ago. I just went on 2 rides, and I really didn't think it was for me. I never got really comfortable riding in a group like that, in a pack, especially when it came to turning. I was a little squirrely. That's one of the main things that got me interested in triathlon, is because I didn't want to be all bunched up with a pack of people on a bike. I like the idea of the time trial races in cycling, so I thought I would at least be able to do that in triathlon and run and swim, which would have been a challenge for me. I'm kind of one of those challenge seekers. A couple years ago, when I was running on the Saucony's Grid Flex shoes, I was having some pain in my ankle, and it actually turned into a sprain. I stopped using them after that. I stopped running because I was afraid to. I thought maybe I wasn't ever going to be able to run again. And then I got these for my run training, the Asics Gel Neo 33s. They saved my life. You can see I got my Garmin foot pod on there. So these were a major part of my triathlon season, and you can see I got the lock laces just in time for the tri-season. They're a great shoe, and I love them. The race season was very interesting. I did 5 races in 2013, and I learned something from each of them. You can check out my race reports on my website, paullasko.com, for all the in-depth details about how I felt and what I was thinking for every section of the race. So I'm just going to go over some real quick pros and cons of each race, and just a couple things about them, a couple little facts. So let's start with my first race, the Dock and Sock Triathlon, which was in Central Jersey. It was by Greenbrook Racing, who were the organizers. Joe Patinella is in charge of Greenbrook Racing, and he put on this race. The worst part about that race was the swim. Even though I was able to get in the water beforehand, I started a little too close to the front, and I was shaken up by not being able to figure out how to get my Garmin into auto multisport. I completely forgot. Luckily, I had the president of my Tri Club there to help me out at the last second. A lot of members of the Tri Club were participating and there to cheer us on. It was kind of like a club event that we had. So that was actually one of my pluses for that race, the support. My parents went to most of my races this year, and having the Tri Club there and extra family and friends to cheer me on as I was next to last out of the water after I panicked for 3/4 of it was great. That was one of my negatives, was my swim performance, but being my first race, that was kind of expected. The other thing is I completely forgot that I dropped one of my cycling gloves and stuffed it into my bag, and I was freaking out after the race, like, I can't find my glove, and after I get home, I'm like, wait a minute, I dropped it and I picked it up and I put it in my bag. I opened the bag and there it is. That's what the race haze will do to you. And of course the running cramps. Really nothing I could do about that at that point. Hadn't figured out what to do to get rid of those. So it was a painful run for the first 1/4 to 1 mile, but the finish was great. I finished that race in an hour, 38 minutes, and 40 seconds, and I was hooked. So about a month later, I'm wearing the t-shirt for that race. New Jersey State Triathlon. I did the sprint distance, of course. I did sprints all this year. I finished that one in an hour, 18 minutes, and 25 seconds. And one of my pluses for that race was being somewhat nearby. And the other thing was, on a race day, the water temperature was like 90 degrees. Didn't need a wetsuit. It might as well have been in a hot tub. It was an amazing swim. I wasn't fast, I was on my back a lot, but I did have a good time on that swim. Very flat bike, and a good run course. Everything was clearly marked. That was a great race. The other really cool thing was there was a guy in transition who kept making sure everybody went the right way, which was great. Everybody did go the right way as far as I know. A negative for that race for me was muscle cramps again on the run for the first quarter to 1 mile. After that I was pretty okay. So here's that medal, New Jersey State Triathlon 2013. It's got the date on the back for both the sprint and the Olympic. I did the sprint, of course. And it's a bottle opener. That was my first medal I got, and when I saw that I was like, when am I going to use this as a bottle opener? And the t-shirt, which I was hoping it would be a little better quality, but it's a good t-shirt. At least I can say I did the race without having to wear that thing around. Printing is a little bit crooked, but eh. After that, Tri-Rock Asbury Park. I did that on August 25th, and that was a pretty good race. I wasn't faster than my New Jersey State performance overall, but I did finish in the same minute. 1 hour and 18 minutes, 43 seconds for this one. It was cold in the morning, really cold. I was shivering until I got my wetsuit on. It was my first swim that I did in the wetsuit, my 2x UT3 wetsuit. It was pretty good. I think one of the main things is that I could have swam a little bit faster. I really just wanted to make sure that I got to the end instead of going hard and tiring myself out. The waves were interesting, getting through those for the first 50 meters. Once you got past those, it was pretty easy. So I can't really complain about the water temperature because it was warmer than the air temperature at the start of the race, and the rest of the race went fine. The only thing that I really didn't like about that race is the information that we weren't given. Turns out that triathletes who did the race were allowed to go to the beach without paying a fee. I found out from a lifeguard as I approached the beach after I already paid. So that's my little donation to Asbury Park. I had a great experience down there anyway. It was fun. And one other thing is that they told you on the Tri-Rock website that your race fee also applied to the post-race headliner concert, and that was the phrase they used on the homepage of their site. As far as I know, there was no concert. I mean, that's Asbury Park. That's a huge music scene in the state. The Stone Pony is over there, and they even had their outdoor stage set up for the summer, so I think they could have had a concert, and if they did, I didn't know. And I actually did that race with a friend from Seton Hall University, which was a complete coincidence. You can read about that in the race report on my website, paullasko.com. I did that race also in memory of a friend who died about a week before of leukemia. My friend Brittany Conwell, who was a classmate with me. So I think she had something to do with me running into a friend from Seton Hall. It was not even a coincidence. It was a miracle. You know, I think I'm going to turn on the light. It's getting really dark in here. Here's my Tri-Rock medal. Basic yellow ribbon, but check out that. That's really neat for a finisher medal. A little guitar. It says 2013 on there. Tri-Rock. After that race, I did the Skylands Triathlon, which was another more local race. That was actually my slowest race because the swim was really long. It was an 800-meter swim, and I never trained for that long of a swim for a race. I maybe did that much, including my warm-ups and cool-downs in my swim training. After that swim, there was this major 3-tier hill, which after the first tier, I got sick on the bike, standing there on the side of the road as someone else from my tri club who I was doing that race with just passed me. He did cheer me on, and I was just joking, and I'm like, damn you. So getting sick on the bike was not fun, and I feel bad for all the people who were around me who had to witness it. The good thing about Skylands Triathlon is that I placed 2nd out of 4 in my age group. So when you consider the timings, I was still average. I was in the top 50%. And I do have the medal for that. Here it is. It was put on by a Rotary Club, so it's just like the Rotary logo. It's not a bottle opener, though. I got this. It's a nice little crystal little trophy to show off. Yeah, 2nd out of 4 for that race. And then the last race I did was the Buckman Triathlon. And this was another one put on by Greenbrook Racing and Joe Patinella. But I did do great on the swim. It was only 400 meters. It was very fast, 400 meters. Water temperature was just in the wetsuit legal range with awards. So I did wear my wetsuit. 400 meters with another Tri Club member. He was basically with me for the whole swim. I exited the water 15 seconds before he did. You could see feet in front of you when they were coming up about 4 or 5 feet away. It was really good water. And I also placed in that race, but it was a default first, and I got this trophy. Kind of a creepy bobblehead baby thing. So at least I have that to show for that race. No medals for that one. The only negatives of that race were that the bike was really hilly, and 2 days later I had strep throat. I don't think it's related to racing that day, but the next day I started feeling a little bit weird, and by that night my throat was pretty much gone and started to heat up, and Monday morning, boom, 102 fever. And now for a couple special highlights from this season included the Buckman first place default qualified me for the Olympic Distance Age Group Championships in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which are this coming August. I haven't registered for it yet because I thought that I didn't really deserve to be in that race with a first place default. That might be stupid because I might not qualify this coming year for the next year's race. So if I still have a chance to enter that race, I may not. I'm not sure yet. And my Tri Club president voted me as the Rookie of the Year, and they gave me a team kit, this year's team kit, separate top and bottom, which was really nice of them. Thank you for that. And thanks, Darren, club president, for supporting me this year and giving me a whole bunch of advice before the races that I did that he was at. It was a huge help. So that's my triathlon year in review. Here's to a great 2014, and I hope your training is going well for this coming season and that your races go well. If you'd like to comment, go ahead and do so below. Tweet me at Paul Lasko. Check out the website paullasko.com and subscribe and like my videos, more of which will be coming in the future. So, Happy New Year, everybody.